and welcome back. A few months ago, I began my New Wave series as a way of concurrently providing coverage to some of the sunnier and sleeker sounds that grace my record collection from the original era. As the yang to post-punk's yin, today I am back with part 2 to 1981. Excited to share 5 more noteworthy new wave albums, including some unique trivia and anecdotes along the way. So stick around, because today we're going to discuss hanging with the girls at Denny's, monosynths teetering on milk crates, and writing a hook so good everyone with a sampler just had to use it. This is New Wave Starter Pack 1981 Part 2. New Wave emerged in the late 1970s as a sleek, synth-laced offshoot of punk rock, trading snarling rebellion for catchy hooks, quirky fashion, and futuristic sounds. While punk tore things down with raw attitude, New Wave rebuilt them with drum machines, pop melodies, and a sense of ironic detachment. Acts like Talking Heads, Blondie, and Elvis Costello brought an intellectual edge to the genre, while UK groups such as Duran Duran, The Human League, and Gary Newman helped define its glossy synth-pop core. The genre exploded alongside the rise of MTV in the early 80s, where its bold visuals and fashion-forward attitude were tailor-made for music video stardom. Though often conflated with post-punk, New Wave was generally brighter, more accessible, and far more concerned with making you dance than contemplate existential doom. Where post-punk bands like Joy Division and Public Image Limited embraced shadowy atmospheres, jagged guitars, and experimentalism, New Wave favored pop polish, ironic lyrics, and clean, danceable production. Essentially, post-punk was the art school basement show, while New Wave was already halfway to the nightclub. Both born from the same punk spirit, but heading in different directions. However, stylistically, there's clearly some overlap, with many bands walking the line between the two or transitioning over several albums. Which brings us to our first record, Simple Minds, Sons and Fascination, and Sister Feelings Call. The sunny side of post-punk? Or is it the darker side of New Wave? An argument can be made for both, as at this stage, Simple Minds still embraced jagged guitars, cryptic lyrics, and art school paranoia, while the synths started to get bolder and their choruses catchier. Sons and Fascination, Sister Feelings Call, is the 4th album by Scottish band Simple Minds. Initially released as 2 separate albums on the 4th of September, 1981. By the time this double or 2 record set hit store shelves, Simple Minds were done warming up. Formed in Glasgow in the late 70s, the band started as a post-punk outfit with glam rock hangovers, fronted by the charismatic Jim Kerr and anchored by the cinematic soundscapes of guitarist Charlie Burchill and keyboardist Mick McNeil. Their earlier albums had flirted with art rock weirdness, but this ambitious double release marked a seismic leap. A confident strut into the shimmering world of synth-driven futurism, Cold War paranoia, and existential cool. The band teamed up with producer Steve Hillage. Yes, the same Hillage from cosmic prog rockers Gong. And the result was a sprawling, hypnotic, pulse-pounding sound that combined motoric rhythms, funk bass lines, icy synths, and abstract lyrics about cities, systems, and souls in turmoil. Recorded at London's Townhouse Studios, the sessions were famously intense and sprawling, so much so that the material spilled out into 2 simultaneously released albums. Technically, Sons and Fascination was the main LP, while Sister Feelings Call was initially a bonus, but over time, fans and reissues have treated them as like one glorious synth-soaked monolith. The American is full of swagger and find Simple Minds flexing their evolving sound with cinematic flair and cryptic cool. Released as a single ahead of Suns in Fascination, the track pulses with steady drums, 16th note synth lines, and this chilly main guitar hook that feels as if it was beamed in from a Cold War spy thriller. Love Song is a high-octane, synth-drenched anthem that's far more urgent and propulsive than its deceptively simple title suggests. The song marries another pulsing synth arpeggio with shimmering keyboards, jagged guitar riffs, and Jim Kerr's enigmatic croon, delivering a love song that feels more geopolitical than romantic. Over the anthemic backdrop, Kerr delivers the vocals as lyrical fragments. Flesh of heart, heart of steel, stay below, shout below, in glory days that come and go. It's a love song, yes, but delivered with clenched fists, wide eyes, and synths blazing. Meanwhile, Sweat and Bullet is a jittery, funk-infused adrenaline rush that captures Simple Minds at their most rhythmically restless. Skittering guitar and staccato keyboards take turns ringing out around the vocals, like some dance party hosted in a fallout shelter. Kerr's lyrics here feel like cryptic transmissions from some glamorous dystopia, like half poetry, half radio operator. Theme for Great Cities is one of those rare instrumentals that transcends its original era, becoming the sonic blueprint for countless electronic acts. It's basically Blade Runner on the dance floor. The track is a driving, atmospheric journey built on hypnotic bass, shimmering synths, and a motoric beat that feels more Berlin nightclub than Glasgow rock club. With no lyrics, it speaks entirely through tone and tension, capturing the cold beauty and bustling energy of urban life. Its sleek cinematic vibe made it perfect as like a blueprint for genres still emerging at the time, including house, trance music, and ambient techno, and led to a flurry of diverse electronic artists sampling several elements of the track, in particular its main hook. Critical response at the time was cautiously positive, if a bit puzzled. Some reviewers didn't know what to make of the album's relentless forward motion and chilly detachment. Like, was it art? Dance music? A soundtrack to the end of the world? Enemy critic Chris Bond deemed the album, quote, excessively and inexcusably labored. However, fans connected immediately, especially in Europe, where the band was building a fervent following. Today, Suns in Fascination, Sister Feelings Call, is hailed as one of Simple Minds' most innovative works, a high point of their art rock before stadium rock phase. Long before Don't You Forget About Me made them global icons, this album captured them at their most fearless and forward-thinking. It's since been reevaluated as a lost classic of the post-punk and early new wave era, influencing everyone from U2 to modern synthwave artists. If you're looking for that special moment before Simple Minds went stadium, cool, cerebral, and wrapped in sequencer loops, this is it. Original Canadian pressing. I think this one's Canada too. Love Song 12-inch. Remix 12-inch for Theme for Great Cities, remixed by Moby in 2012. Next record, Eurythmics, In the Garden. Eurythmics' debut album, In the Garden, released in 1981, marked the beginning of one of the most innovative and stylistically daring duos in pop music. Formed by Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart After the disbandment of their previous group, the Tourists, Eurythmics was conceived as a more experimental and electronically inclined project. Lennox's powerful ethereal vocals paired with Dave Stewart's production prowess and laid the groundwork for what would become one of the most enduring and influential musical partnerships. Though they would later gain global fame with synth-pop hits like Sweet Dreams, their debut was a markedly different affair, dark, moody, and rich with psychedelia and art rock influences. In the Garden was recorded at the legendary Connie Plank studio in Cologne, Germany, known for its affiliation with avant-garde and krautrock pioneers like Can and Neu. Plank himself co-produced the album, bringing an atmospheric and textural edge to the recordings. The studio sessions featured notable guest musicians including Clem Burke of Blondie on drums, Holger Zuke of Can on French horn, and Lutz Ulbrich of Ash Ra Temple. These collaborations infused the record with a distinct European art rock sensibility that diverged sharply from the mainstream British pop sound of the time. Musically, In the Garden blends synth-laced experimentalism with new wave and psychedelic flourishes. Never Gonna Cry Again showcases Lennox's haunting vocals and explored themes of emotional distance and alienation. Featuring guest spots by Holger and Jackie from krautrock legends Can, the track blends chilly German precision with Lennox and Dave Stewart's emerging knack for moody melodic pop. Belinda rushes forward as a post-punk guitar-driven track that shimmers with pulsing rhythms, hand claps, and more haunting vocals before a big operatic outro from Lennox. All the Young People of Today is a sneering synth-driven slow burn. Annie Lennox delivers a hypnotic vocal performance, cool, detached, and vaguely menacing, while the minimalist groove trudges forward like a factory assembly line stuck on existential crisis mode. With its pulsing electronics and bleakly poetic tone, the track sounds like what might happen if Nico fronted a malfunctioning robot band. Though In the Garden received modest critical praise upon its release, it failed to chart significantly in the UK or US, and commercial success eluded the duo, at least at this stage. Critics at the time were intrigued but non-committal, recognizing potential without fully embracing the album's experimental edge. But modern reevaluations of In the Garden are far more favorable. Music historians and fans alike now recognize the album as an important transitional work, not only in the Eurythmics' career, but in the broader narrative of post-punk and new wave evolution. While it may not contain the chart-topping anthems that define their later work, In the Garden stands as a bold, intriguing debut that reveals the seeds of the duo's artistic ambition. Today, it is appreciated for its moody production, experimental leanings, and as a fascinating glimpse into the early days of two artists on the brink of reinvention. This is a original German pressing. Still got the shrink. Inner sleeve. Next record, The Go-Go's, Beauty and the Beat. Beauty and the Beat is the debut album from California new wave band The Go-Go's, released on the 14th of July, 1981 on IRS Records. Their success in the early 80s helped pave the way for other women in rock, showing that an all-female band could be commercially successful and critically acclaimed in a world that was traditionally dominated by male musicians. Although hard to fathom in today's age, the Go-Go's were not manufactured. Far from it. They were a genuine grassroots band that emerged organically from the gritty LA punk scene in the late 70s. not pieced together by a record label or industry executives, and with zero expectations of mainstream success. The group frequently met at a Denny's on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, and it was there that they chose the band's name. The lineup consisted of Belinda Carlisle on vocals, Jane Wiedlin on guitar, Charlotte Coffey on lead guitar keyboard, Gina Schock on drums, and Kathy Valentine on bass, who replaced original member Margot Olivaria. Together, they combined DIY swagger, infectious hooks, and the rare combination of bubblegum energy and bratty rebellion. Eventually, these former punk kids would swap their beer-soaked club gigs for the Billboard charts and do it without selling their souls. Recorded in New York City with producer Richard Gotterer of Blondie fame, Beauty and the Beat was the result of chaos polished to perfection. The band arrived in NYC wild and unruly, partying so hard they often recorded hungover or on fumes from the night before. Yet Gotterer's sharp ear and the girls' undeniable chemistry turned those sessions into lightning in a bottle. The result was a record that fused punk's edge with surf pop sparkle and Motown bounce, a sound that had an attitude in its teeth and sugar on its tongue. The title was a cheeky riff on fairy tales, but make no mistake, this was a rock album with a killer instinct. At the core of the album are the unstoppable singles. We Got the Beat is a high-energy rally cry with its stomping beat, surfy guitar riff, and Belinda Carlisle's bratty, exuberant vocals. Our Lips Are Sealed is a sun-soaked slice of early 80s pop perfection, blending teenage secrecy, sly rebellion, and jangly guitars into one endlessly catchy anthem. Co-written by Go-Go's guitarist Jane Wiedlin and Funboy 3's Terry Hall during a transatlantic affair, the song hides bittersweet emotion beneath its breezy beat and new wave shimmer. In 1983, Hall's band Funboy 3 released their version of Our Lips Are Sealed, achieving greater success in their native UK, besting the recording by the Go-Go's, which went top 20 in the US. Elsewhere, deeper cut This Town presents lyrical cynicism and grit under the pop gloss as a scathing critique of the stereotypes of Hollywood. With its surfy guitars, snappy drums, and Belinda Carlisle's effortlessly cool delivery, the Go-Go's paint a hilariously jaded picture of a city where everyone's fabulous and fake and chasing fame with a smile and a switchblade. This town is our town. This town glamorous. Critics were initially hesitant to take an all-female band seriously, especially one with such catchy hooks and hairspray-heavy style. But the Go-Go's quickly made them eat their words. Beauty and the Beat climbed to #1 on the Billboard 200 and stayed there for 6 weeks, making history as the first album by an all-female band writing and performing their own material to do so. The press caught up fast, and soon the band was gracing magazine covers and selling out arenas. Fans loved them not just for their music, but because they seemed like the cool older sisters you wanted to hang out with and maybe sneak a cigarette behind the roller rink. Today, Beauty and the Beat is regarded as a landmark in pop and punk history and a perfect cocktail of rebellion and radio friendliness. It's been reevaluated as more than just a fun debut. It's now hailed as a masterclass in songwriting, performance, and breaking industry norms. The Go-Go's didn't just open doors for women in rock, they kicked them down in synchronized formation, smiling all the way. 40 plus years later, the beat hasn't stopped, and neither has their legacy. This is a repress, inner sleeve, next record, Trio, the album, aka Da Da Da. When German band Trio dropped their self-titled debut album in 1981, They didn't just release music, they launched a minimalist prank on the entire pop industry. Formed in the small town of Grozenfniten, the band consisted of Steven Remler on vocals, Gert Krawenkel on guitar, and Peter Behrens on drums and occasional circus-level antics. These weren't synth-wielding new romantics or leather-clad punks, no. Trio arrived with dry humor, deadpan delivery, and the strange genius of saying more by doing and playing less. They proudly declared their style as Neue Deutsche Fröhlichkeit, or New German cheerfulness, and with that philosophy, they made absurdity an art form. Recorded in a deliberately stripped down fashion, Trio sounds like it was recorded in someone's living room, and in many ways it was. The band purposely avoided overproduction, favoring a drum kit with just a kick and snare, a guitar with no effects, and Remler's voice half sung, half spoken in a tone that veered between disinterested and maniacal. The minimalism wasn't a budget issue, it was the entire joke. Influences range from punk's attitude to Dadaist performance art, with a touch of rock and roll rebellion filtered through a German sense of dry absurdity. And yes, Behrens really did perform in clown makeup at times, balancing on one leg while drumming. Trio made weird look easy. The album's nuclear core is, of course, the global earworm Da Da Da. Ich lieb dich nicht, du liebst mich nicht. Aha, aha, aha. A song so relentlessly simple it feels like a dare. Built on a preset beat coming off of a Casio VL1, a two-note guitar riff, and monotone vocals, it became an unexpected international hit. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Then there's Broken Hearts for You and Me, the band's attempt at a crooning ballad filtered through a punky, Dadaist lens. With its unintentionally stilted delivery and hilariously flat English vocals, the song feels like a parody of heartbreak. Imagine Tom Petty filtered through lo-fi production and a dry German sense of humor. Broken hearts for you and me. Kummer, which translates to grief or sorrow, is Trio at their most emotionally deadpan. The song strips down sadness to its bare essentials: a sparse beat, a few stark chords, a solo played on a toy instrument, and Steven Remner's dry, almost robotic vocal delivery, making it feel like a breakup ballad written by someone who's been staring at the wall for 3 days straight. Whoa, heartaches, mir tut das Herz so weh. Trio's genius lay in creating songs that sounded like they might fall apart at any moment, only to reveal themselves as sharply constructed pop puzzles. Critics didn't know what to make of it at all. Like, was it satire, stupidity, subversion? Some hailed it as a bold artistic statement, while others wrote it off as a novelty act. But audiences got the joke, or at least danced to it. Da 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 charted across Europe, the UK, and even cracked the US consciousness, remembered more recently for its use in a Volkswagen commercial. Meanwhile, the band insisted on continuing their oddball aesthetic in interviews, often giving monosyllabic or contradictory answers that only fueled their mystique. Decades later, Trio has earned its place in the pop pantheon, not just as a curiosity, but as a brilliant bit of anti-pop alchemy. What initially seemed like a gag turned out to be a clever deconstruction of pop music itself. It's now celebrated for its fearless minimalism, surreal wit, and the way it quietly influenced everything from lo-fi indie to electroclash. Trio didn't just strip the genre down, they set it on fire with a grin and watched it burn. All to a Casio loop. Original Canadian pressing. Inner sleeve. Da 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 12-inch. And final record for today, Depeche Mode, Speak and Spell. Speak and Spell is the debut studio album by English electronic music band Depeche Mode. It was released in October 1981 by Mute Records. Formed in Basildon, Essex, the band started as a scrappy quartet led by the then songwriter and synth wizard Vince Clarke, along with Dave Gahan's charismatic vocals, Martin Gore's guitar turned synth stylings, and Andy Fletcher's stoic presence behind the keys. At least when he wasn't clapping. The group emerged from the tail end of punk and the rising wave of new romanticism, finding their voice not through guitars and angst, but through drum machines paired with classic pop arrangements. In their scrappy early days, Depeche Mode were just four synth-obsessed lads from Basildon, barely out of their teens, catching trains to London with their keyboards tucked under their arms like futuristic briefcases. With no roadies and barely any budget, they'd lug their gear through stations and back alleys, arriving at clubs where they'd prop their synths up on milk crates or borrowed tables. Punk in spirit, but all blips and bleeps in sound. The DIY setup might have looked ramshackle, but once the beat kicked in, it was clear to audiences, including fellow musician and label boss Daniel Miller, that something new and electrifying was happening. Kraftwerk by way of Essex, with a dance floor twist. Recorded at Blackwing Studios in London with Daniel Miller as producer and mentor, Speak and Spell was built on a shoestring budget but packed with wide-eyed ambition. Clarke's songwriting leaned toward the catchy and exuberant, part bubblegum, part Kraftwerk, crafting infectious minimalist pop songs that felt futuristic and cheeky all at once. New Life is bursting with chirping keyboards, rapid-fire rhythms, and Dave Gahan's crisp, youthful vocals. Vince Clarke's knack for infectious melodies is on full display, rapping existential questions and candy-coated hooks and upbeat rhythms. It's bright, it's bouncy, and marked their breakthrough into the UK charts, setting the tone for early 80s electropop.
Complicating, circulating, new life, new life.
Tora Tora Tora, written by Martin Gore, shows early glimmers of the more complex themes and textures that would define Depeche Mode's future. Written about the Pearl Harbor attack, the track simmers with minimalist synth lines and a creeping sense of unease, while Dave Gahan delivers lyrics that hint at political intrigue, wartime imagery, and quiet menace. I had a nightmare only yesterday. You played a skeleton. You took my love, then died that day. I played an American. This track is one of the darker, stranger corners of early Depeche Mode, and all the more compelling for it. Photographic is Depeche at their raw synth-punk best. A darker, clubbier cut that hinted at the grittier direction they'd explore later. Originally appearing on the Some Bizarre album and later refined for Speak and Spell, the track captures the band's early energy when Vince Clarke's songwriting fused icy electronics with pure pop instincts. Dave Gahan delivers the lyrics with a robotic urgency, chanting about memory, desire, and frozen moments, with all the emotional warmth of a Polaroid developing in the dark. The album's undisputed crown jewel is Just Can't Get Enough, a synth-pop anthem so relentlessly upbeat it could make a rainy British afternoon feel like a Technicolor beach party. Propelled by a keyboard riff that you'll never get out of your head, the track is pure early 80s euphoria. Bright, bouncy, and irresistibly optimistic. Though the band would later dive into darker waters, Just Can't Get Enough remains their sparkling pop calling card and proof that you can make Obsession sound like a party.
I just can't seem to get enough.
Critics initially received Speak and Spell with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Some hailed it as a promising debut, while others dismissed it as light and disposable, electronic candy floss with no staying power. But the album quickly found a fervent fan base, especially in the clubs and among the early synthpop faithful. Surprisingly, just as the album gained momentum, Vince Clarke abruptly left the band, citing creative differences and a desire to explore new musical directions, leaving the rest of the group wondering if their brief flash with fame was already flickering out. Spoiler, it wasn't. Today, Speak and Spell is recognized not just as a launching pad for one of the most influential electronic bands of all time, but as a seminal, foundational new wave and synth pop record in its own right. Devotees celebrate its innocence, precision, and deceptively simple charm. It stands as a vibrant snapshot of a band on the cusp, still learning the ropes, a little rough around the edges, but bursting with ambition. It's not the classic sound of the polished DM machine. It's the sound of 4 kids figuring out how to build it and making the faithful dance bit by bit along the way. This is a 2007 repress, and it's signed by Mr. Vince Clarke. It's a gatefold. I'm gonna save you the 5 or 6 other pressings I have because we've got a lot of singles to go through now. Dreaming of Me, this was their first single, 7-inch only, appears on US editions on Sire Records of the record. Backed with Ice Machine, phenomenal B-side. New Life, 7-inch. I think this one is Spanish. New Life UK 12-inch. German 12-inch. You know these stickers, you know what's coming. Platt im Verbigen vinyl. Sire Records promo 12-inch. It's got Big Muff, Photographic, No Disco, and Boys Say Go. Just Can't Get Enough. This is a Spanish 7-inch. German 12-inch. Just Can't Get Enough, UK 12-inch. Signed by Mr. Vince Clarke. So that's gonna do it for today. I'm gonna link below some footage of Depeche Mode live at Crocs in 1981, along with some other goodies. If you enjoyed this video, kindly give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming new wave or artist-specific episodes. Are you familiar with all of the records I covered? What are your favorite new wave releases of 1981? Let me know below, as well as if you'd like to see a part 3 to this list. And I'll be sure to cover this classic. Thanks for watching. You can see more of my videos right here. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys in the next one.